Hey, good morning, YouTube. It's Joe Getz here, working on some of the relics from one of the past hunts. Went out with a buddy of mine, Chip, and took him on a kind of a tour of some South Carolina sites and then some Virginia sites. And we dug up this really cool artillery fragment from a big 8.5-inch Schenkel. So it's really cool and it looks nice now, but before it looked like a piece of iron like this. What I'm doing is I'm cleaning it up. A lot of people don't clean up their artillery fragments. I did an earlier segment on cleaning up your iron. So these have been run through electrolysis already, and I will kind of give people instructions if you comment on how to set up an electrolysis system. But right now I'm doing kind of the final cleanup on it. So as you can see here, I'm going to kind of pan over, and as you can see here, we have the shell. And it's right here, and it looks nice. It looks cool. You can see the lines, and it cleaned up. It darkens it up, and makes it black. Some of the tools you'll need are a mess here, but they work. Clamps. I use a hatchet head because I can use it to chip away the corners of little pieces, and then I can also break off bigger pieces with the hammer end without it being too aggressive. So you see there, it kind of breaks off, and you just kind of tap away at it, and it starts to get those little knots out and make it nice and smooth. Now, if you look here, that's all pretty much as cleaned up as I want to do it. There might be a couple little spots here that might look a little better where I tap away, like so, and kind of loosen it out like this, and it looks a little rough. And then I use a cup wheel grinder on a cordless drill, and I just kind of grind it out, buff it. It gives it a nice finish. So here's one of my frags. It's not mine. The little frag. My friend take him out first time. His first artillery fragment's the best looking one I've seen in years. But I'm glad that he made it and found it, and it's not in the ground anymore. So you see how dirty this is. So what I'd start to do after electrolysis is I kind of hammer it out, and you can see the old crusty pieces kind of breaking off. And it looks like you're destroying it, but you're really not. What's going to be there is going to be there. This is a ribbed piece of the giant 100-pound Schenkel. So then I just kind of work it a little bit, kind of get it defined, take all the crust off, and see it's still rough here. So then I'll go through and just tap it again. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. And see, as it starts to break up, you'll get down to the actual part of the shell frag. So anyway, this is kind of what I do. I just go back and forth. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in this this is a paraffin wax that I'm getting all nice and hot. As you can see out here, I'll monitor the temperature. I'll get my electrical cord away from the heat so I don't melt it like an idiot. And I'm going to put it in there for quite a few hours, and then what it's going to do is it's going to boil the water that's inside. It's going to come out of it. It's going to put a protective coating, and then I'll use a shoe brush. A couple other tools that you can use that I found handy. You can get one of these big $7 giant, it's really heavy duty wire brush, and you can brush off the initial so you get an idea of where you are and where you need to kind of chip away and work it a little better. Another good tool is just from Autocraft. It's just a little bodywork tool and that helps you get into little areas that you can't get in. You just want to be gentle though. You don't want to, beat the crap out of it, but you can just kind of tap away. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Anybody that gets that is a child of the 90s. And it just kind of works it away. And then I kind of figure that out, and then I buff it again. And you can see it's starting to come and make some definition. This will clean up just like this one here. Now I could probably do a little bit better job in this area here. with the ball peen hammer, but it's not my frag, so I'm just trying to be as easy on it as possible. When you start to see that gray black, you know you don't really have any, some of the metal's not as stable, so you want to kind of take it easy on it when you get into that. So I kind of leave those alone and just let it kind of get preserved in the paraffin wax. But actually, if you see there, I just kind of, and once I buff that, it looks kind of rough now. But right there's a nice little rib, and you want the definition of that on a Schenkel. So, you know, I just kind of buff that, and as you can see, if I buff it, look how nice that looks. See? Cleaned it up nice, gave it some definition. And I'm kind of spending a little extra time on this one because it's, again, it's not mine. And you want to wear safety goggles every time, and you really should wear a dust mask. I'm just an idiot. It's my wife sitting there, because you end up with boogers that are black for a day. One last thing that you might want to also have is just a cheap bench grinder. You can see it right here. I put a wire wheel on it with some washers, and you can use the stone, but as you can see, I rarely ever use the stone portion. That's for really tough stuff. So you can take a horseshoe that, you know, looks like that from the cavalry, or, you know, just iron relics, and when they get cleaned up in electrolysis, they, you know, this is the first phase, how crusty it looks. We all seen those. Then the second phase, and then, you know, kind of a finished product, and then it'll have a nice coating on it when we're done. Obviously, if you look, that's just dust, but see how nice and black and pretty it is? And that's all in my hand. I'll rinse that off one final time once I kind of finish it. I rarely do the insides. This one I might work a little more just because it being such a cool shell and such a rare shell. We found this piece of it. We found another piece that would have went like, this would have been the bottom end, and this would have been the center ring, and then the nose, and then these pieces would have went with it. We're missing some. We didn't make any of them fit, unfortunately. But these are my two pieces here, plus I found a piece of the nose that hasn't been through electrolysis. That's what it would look like, all crusty. Another piece of the frag, and this is from a parrot. This isn't from the shell. I found a lot of pieces of this shell. And this here, too, is another nose piece from this shell. Right there that I started to clean off. That one was actually right on the surface and had moths growing on it because a tree had grown and pushed it up to the top, so that was kind of cool. Anyway, that's kind of it in a nutshell of kind of how I clean up the frags. I can get into more of the paraffin wax boiling here with you guys if anyone wants to know more about this. This is a mess right now because, again, I'm slinging all the mud and debris off of it. I'm getting ready to clean it up today, so I wanted to finish this for the rest of the day. Get these done, send it out to Missouri to my buddy, and you know, be done with this for a while because I'm organizing the garage. So yeah, I hope it was helpful. Hope you found it entertaining, and subscribe to the channel, like it, and appreciate your time, and hope you have fun relic hunting. Happy hunting.